Recording started for part 2. Go.
Alright, where we left off before was with Greg. So Greg, you had the floor, buddy.
Okay, so topic was just with regards to when we hold the meetings. My thoughts were, because we are separated across different time zones, doing it on the weekend, either Saturday or Sunday, would probably be easier for members to make it due to the time difference, because starting it too late in the evening would cause it to go too late at night for some people on the East Coast. And then doing it early on the East Coast might cause it to start too early for those who are in Mountain Standard Time or on the West Coast and are even earlier. So my thoughts were to have all official meetings either on Saturday or Sunday, in the afternoons or evenings, when a higher percentage of us can guarantee that we'll be able to make it.
I don't have a problem with that.
Wolf?
Anytime for me.
Could we have, like, when people agree with something, like they put +1, and if they disagree with something, but +2 in the chat channel, just to easily see what people agree with? Agree, hit +1. If you disagree, hit +2.
So we're gonna do that. Should we just do a plus and minus symbol?
That worked.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. That makes it harder to keep track of who wants to chat next versus who's hitting and agree and disagree. Use exclamation to chat. The other thing I did want to touch to, which do you guys just prefer calling who's next, or did you like me doing that better?
Maybe, Sifu, when you're using Mumble, do you see the chat?
Yes.
So you know, like, who should have the floor next, correct?
Ash, when we call it out?
Yeah, I mean, if you could moderate who's up next and whether or not we should keep the topic open or close it, that would be awesome.
All right. So we got Tara with you want to go with the +1 for agreeing, and then the exclamation point for they wanted to comment on that item or that topic that's being discussed.
I believe that's what everybody agreed on.
All right, let's do that. Let's go. Who's next?
Actually,
Let's go.
I think I was next, just to make sure. I was going to talk about what Gray brought up about having the meetings on the weekends. Some people can only play a couple hours at night on the weekdays, and their weekends are the time that they want to grind at levels. So if it's an official guild meeting, I mean, of course, you're going to drop what you're playing and go to the meeting. It's going to cut in play time. I don't know how you guys want to handle it. Weekends are fine with me. It's okay. It's just I'm thinking of other people that might want to be leveling instead of listening to, I don't know, our topics. You okay, Odin?
Okay. Zup, you're next, brother. If you're done, Wolf.
Yep, done.
yeah, so 2 comments. Rather than everyone hitting +1 when they agree, we're going to assume you agree unless you hit minus. Rather than having the thing ding 5 times for every agreement or every statement. And then number 2 with the meetings, I think we should, I think any day is fine. We should just probably try and limit it to, I don't know, a length of time, probably a half hour. Granted, this first one is going to be extra long, but it's just a lot of guild business for a new game. So, and then we can even do it kind of like a pre-raid thing or pre-guild event thing. So after the first meeting, we're going to go do a something for, an hour afterwards. World event, whatever.
Gray, you're next.
I think, like what you're saying, is really important about having a time limit, let's say half an hour for the normal meetings, so it doesn't really cut into people's play time. If we do that, then it will help I just say, okay, we always do that, and if we have more than that, unless we absolutely have to resolve it at that time, just say, hey, this will get held back. Anything left over will get held back to the next meeting.
Tarl? Tarl? Hello?
Sorry, hit the
It's
wrong
okay.
button.
That's all right.
I think there's a fine line between everybody, everybody's playtime and everything they're doing, and the fact that they've made an agreement to be part of a guild. And if it's on the weekend and you need to take 30 minutes, I may be a hard butt, but I think that's not much to ask.
Okay, Wolf.
Okay, just to brush on what Tarl said. Okay, I agree with that. If you're an officer, though, it should be mandatory. So that would be one of the topics that Gray wants to go over, how to become an officer. I don't know if Sivu was away when Gray had brought that topic up to discuss during this meeting, or this part of the meeting. As for raids, period, or events, should we do something like during the weekday and one on the weekend, or how are we going to handle that?
I'll add on to that. I think the events should be like on the weekends. During the week, pretty much everybody's just like kind of sparingly playing. If I'm not, because sometimes I don't get home until if I have a trial like 6 o'clock, so I won't be really able to do a whole lot because my time's limited because I have to go to bed around 9:30 because I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So I would suggest weekends, Saturday and Sunday for like Friday we'll have or we can do it a Thursday if everybody's schedule is cool, or have like a Tuesday named Tuesday named fight or name or whatever. But I say the weekends, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, so should we set like a place in the forums to set up times for off night raids, like during the weekday?
Yes.
And then the regular raids for when everybody should show up is going to be the weekends.
Yes. All right, Zup. If we're done, are you done, Wolf?
Yep, Zuppy.
So I think two things with this. I think we're gonna have to revisit rating, and or dungeon anything more than 4-man content at the next meeting. I think on a periodic basis we're gonna have to revisit schedule. So with all the different things we want to do in game, we'll just maybe do a 2-week outlook or a month outlook. I'm not sure yet. And I would say it needs to be coordinated on the forums and or in game, because something like defending a PvP keep, for instance, is not like we could schedule it. If we own it, it's going to be ongoing 24/7 stuff. Or for that length of time, we have fun with it. Or for that raid, it's an hour and whatever we decide, but we got to revisit it when we know more about the content. Done.
Right.
I like the idea of maybe just having an automatic bi-weekly guild meeting, just that way, so we know, hey, every 2 weeks we do a meeting. Sometimes it might only take 5 minutes if we don't have much to cover, but just have something everyone knows, hey, every 2 weeks we have a meeting. Tops, it'll be half an hour, sometimes less. Just that way, so it'll make it easier for people to bring stuff up.
Does everybody agree with the bi-weekly meetings?
Yep.
Meetings twice a week.
No, we're gonna have to sacrifice something.
No, I mean every 2 weeks.
Should be bi-monthly.
Well, some months have more than 2 weeks technically, and some months have.
Basically just every other week, wouldn't it be, right?
Yes.
Oh, I thought Sheldon was going to come up with something like, all right, if we have that many meetings, we're going to have to kill so many puppies a week.
But I shouldn't have to say that. That's obvious by now. Come on.
All right, sorry, out of my turn.
All right, well, it looked like everybody agreed. Zup's got
Got the floor.
I do think during our first week or two adventures, we should keep an eye out for sexy meeting room places in game, and propose a new one where everyone logs in and runs there with their character, just for grins and entertainment while we're talking.
I don't know about that because I could be kind of that if I see Zuppy taking off his clothes and dancing, yeah, because you know that's gonna happen. Go ahead, Wolf.
Yeah, you were just brushing on the topic I was going to bring up. If we're going to do a meeting in game and be in Mumble, I mean, yeah, we can play around and stuff, but we need to keep on topic. The reason why we're having the meeting is to discuss the people or the things that we have on hold.
See, the advantage in game is it also enables chat so people can pose their question or thought while we're talking.
All right. Do you guys want to move on to a next topic here? What's our next, Wolf?
Well, to go over what we just talked about, Gray had a good idea about bi-weekly meetings, which we all agreed on. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, and then we're still thinking about scheduling events. It may be weekdays or weekends, depending on people's schedule. We need to get more information, so that's on hold, if I'm correct.
Correct.
Well, let's try and see if we can't find a quick event to coincide or to follow up the next meeting on whatever
So-
March.
So I don't know what you did with your mic, but it sounded like you were eating it.
Too close? That better?
There you go. Sorry.
Nom nom nom.
I'm gonna eat this thing.
Tastes good. No, so let's, right following the next meeting, see if we can't find something to do as a guild, even if it's small.
Okay, so that means that we talked about those two things, and we may have at least a guild raid or event during the first or second week. The next topic we could bring up is Gray Fox wanted to go over the ranks for FOD guilds. How would you become an officer, or if we're going to add ranks?
Good topic. Actually, the officer. I don't know if you guys did this or not when the survey came out. I put out when I talked about the guilds. I did put about there's not enough ranks to you can ranks in and so on and so forth. So I think it's going to have to be reviewed by the officers on certain individuals that stand out within FOD. The way it's always been. I mean, people that 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 stand above beyond everybody else. They always put. I mean, certain criteria in my own mind. This is what I look for in an officer is someone that puts the guild before themselves. Then there's other factors that I look at as well as the other officers. But I think we're going to have to wait until the next meeting on that issue due to the fact because we don't have that many people until we get enough people so we can start splitting it off and getting new officers and such. Was that Wolf or was that Gray Fox? Was Gray Fox next?
So two things I wanted to add. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with FEMA's span of control. They always say you want one person in charge for every 4 to 7 people. Absolutely no more than one person over 7 people, because at that point the span of control just gets too chaotic and you can't keep track. I find that they say like 1 to 5 tends to be the best ratio. So perhaps say, hey, we have a set number of officers. We have 1 officer for every 5 members. And then the only other thing too is I just wanted to kind of say is it's nice when you have kind of a criteria for who becomes officers when there's a position open, because that kind of prevents people feeling like there's favoritism or other stuff going on. It's not, hey, well, you always go hang out with blah 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 and that's why you became an officer and not other person, but instead at least have some guidelines as to, hey, there has to be an opening, hey, you have to attend a certain percentage of the guild meetings, and then just some other basic criteria, and then obviously the discretion of the other officers and the founder would be taken into account with that, but just have some basic guidelines will kind of prevent people from feeling like there's favoritism going on.
What is up?
So we're specifically talking to officers inside of ESO at this moment, right? Because there's
promoting within, yes.
well, so FOD is a guild that spans games, not confined to ESO. Is kind of the goes along with the topic here, right?
No, I think he's talking about, in general, in ECO. Is that correct, Wolf? I mean, Gray?
Yes, this is specific with ESO, as to who becomes an officer or not.
Gotcha. Zup, you got the floor, brother.
Oh, that just said I wanted to make sure we were kind of clear on that topic, because there may be folks from Followers of Destiny and other games that listen to this at some point.
Wolfie?
Based on past experience, we've had some problems with officers and people that want to become officers. If we set a criteria and we have 2 applicants for a position, I'm not sure how we're going to handle that. It's not going to be based on how many they're on or who they play with. It's going to be on what they contribute to the guild. At least that's how I base myself on. I also want to make sure that. Whoops! Did you have something to say, Gray?
Why not just have existing officers take a vote and it be anonymous to the people who are actually in the thing? Like you said, if you have 2 applicants, both meet the qualifications, just have a vote with the current officers.
That could still be looked at as favoritism.
Yeah, but once you start getting a larger group of people, it's a little less. I mean, ultimately, people always are going to be able to extrapolate favoritism. It's just the name of the game. But you can reduce it to a certain point, and then at a certain point, there's nothing you could do.
Yeah, it's just that in prior games we had somebody that I shouldn't mention on this feed that kept bragging or saying things to people that were promoted, saying, well, you are an officer and I've been here longer, et cetera, et cetera. That person wasn't officer material, okay? Very opinionated, didn't get along with others, basically rubbed everybody they met the wrong way. That you're not going to become an officer even if you meet the requirements that way. If you're an FOD member, you're supposed to respect other people, respect their opinions, don't put anybody down. That's what the guild's about. I don't know if anybody else has a different opinion about that, but finding somebody like that to join your guild is rare and far in between, as far as I know. And besides, like Siva pointed out, right now we're only around maybe 17 or 10 or 15 members that are active. It's not like we have many members to apply, or even if we have a spot open. One other subject that we're going to bring up is who's going to be able to invite other members to the guilds and how that should be handled. So we're going to talk about recruiting. Sivu, since you're the guild leader, what did you want to do about the ranks or becoming an officer? Did you want to put that on hold, or did you want to actually set out criteria?
Well, I mean, Grace brought up a good point. I mean, yeah, I mean, but what we need to do, I mean, we've, like you said, Wolf, we got 17 people, and that's not even the people that's, I mean, that's going to be active. I think a lot of the people that's been on the website are in multiple guilds, but I do agree that there should be some type of um, standard for looking at officers and what they have to do. But I still think it's the officers in the guild leaders position to make such things known when it's available, when it comes time for us to get another an officer in the guild. Um, uh, uh, us as the officers and the guild leader will get together and we'll take the candidates that we feel that is can fit into the FOD guidelines, and make a decision from there. Like Wolf said, we had that individual, and it's really sad that I was hosting the the event server at the time, and it was really sad that some individuals didn't get on vent because the individual was there playing. And I do not want to make that reoccur here. I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, fuck, he's online. I'm not going to get online. I'm just going to play my tune and say, oh, my headset's broke." I don't want that to happen. I want everybody. I mean, I know that everybody's on this channel. That's we're individuals. That's why God made us that way, because we're individuals. We're different people. We're different folks. Things might rub us the wrong way, but I mean, we're all adults here, and we're all playing a game, and we need to, sit back and relax and have fun and have fun and laugh and just cut up and have a good time. But get back onto the officer thing. I think like we will determine once in game. Prior, probably we'll probably bring it up the second week when we have the next meeting. We'll touch on it, what we do, see how we're doing in game at that moment, and we can go further with the officers' curriculum. What we look forward to be an officer, or what we're going to have set for an officer. Who was next? I think it was Shoden was next.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we're gonna like limit the amount of people we're gonna allow in the guild.
Unfortunately, I don't. I would like to keep it small, but I don't think it's going to be small.
Yeah, and for all we know, after the game comes out and we start playing, we might get tons of people, sending applications.
You're right. I mean, you're totally right. And while we're playing and more people are helping other people, it's in the guild. What's your guys' and I think I hope that we get bigger. But if we don't, I'd like to keep it the way we are, and or maybe 5, maybe 10 more members if we, that would be awesome. But I mean, like you said, we won't know until we get in game and see what happens. I mean, we may stay at the number that we are right now. Then again, we may get a lot bigger. So I mean, I'm totally up to getting more people in. Wolf?
Yeah, just wanted to brush on a few things. If the guild gets bigger, like Shoden had said, remember we have a limited amount of chat channels unless we switch over to something else for communication. Right now, I'm paying for the Mumble server unless they're donated. Reckonem and Unbot has donated $10 each. Thank you guys. You paid for about 1.5 years for the Mumble server. I don't mind paying out of pocket. It's really not that much, but the more slots that we add for people here, it's going to be harder to maintain. And Zuppy said something about maybe, I don't know, hosting a Mumble server so it doesn't cost us money, but I don't know what that requires. Zup, did you want to comment on that real quick before we move over? Or wait, no, you're next.
Sure. I got 2 or 3 points. I'll touch on the Mumble server last. I think one thing we got to be cognizant of in the MMO world is you got to kind of keep an eye on your officer to member ratio inside a game. If you go perusing for guilds and looking for a guild to play with, you get an invite and you're like the one recruit, there's one member and 25 officers. That kind of sucks. Okay? You just pretty much expect you're going to be an officer, and that may or may not be the case. I think guild size is an important topic all the way around. I think it's more than we can touch on tonight, but as a highlight, the endgame PvE content enables 24-man raids. So, something we need to be aware of. And Mumble server, it looked like I could download a Mumble server and set it up. With that said, I've not tried, but it would be a free, and I certainly would go down that route over the course of the next month or so here and just at least test it out, if nothing else. And we'll work with the current Mumble server until it, makes sense to switch. We'll stay tuned. We'll let you know more as we do the technical discussions on it. But yes, I would host it.
Great.
So to kind of touch on is what you were talking about with the previous member who no one wanted to play with. Do we want to have some sort of exit strategy set up for, to put it bluntly, kicking members out? I think it'd be wise to have some sort of structure in place to do that way, so because it can take only one person to ruin the guild for every single member. So I think it'd be wise to have some sort of methodology or whatever you want to call it to remove problem people.
Well, that's just to answer on that real quick, and I don't mean to cut you off, but we have that in place. I have not put that on the website yet. I do not stand for that, and I normally converse with the officers, just for the simple fact that I might miss something. But it's a unanimous decision between the officers and myself. And if it's a tiebreaker, say like Wolf and Shoden say yeah, and Zuppy says no, and if I have another officer and they say no, then I would be the tiebreaker. And then I would take that individual and I would pull him down to he needs to kick rocks because it's just not working out for us. I don't tell him to kick rocks, but I just tell him the more or less say, hey, your actions, and I can fall back on which are in place right now and say, hey, you didn't follow these rules. I've talked to the other officers. You've given a warning before. You're ruining everybody's gameplay. No one wants to get on the server no more. Leave. And it's gotten ugly before, but I mean, I don't care. I get paid to be an asshole, so I can just bring that out in real life. So I mean, asshole, and if I have to be an asshole, then so be it. Then I'll be the asshole. But there will be rules put on the guild website. I just have not put them on there yet. And yeah, I mean, normally it's a warning, and then if it continues, and if it's affecting everybody else, if it's that serious, then they're Gandhi. Normally, we gave the person that was in question a couple times, up to a couple times, and then the last time he was starting a bunch of drama, and that's when he got kicked. All right, Wolf, I stepped in front of you, so you're next.
Oh, the individual from our prior games pissed off a lot of members, especially members that have done more for the guild than he ever did. And he still wondered why he couldn't be an officer. I don't want that situation again. And I even caught myself avoiding joining a Mumble server or our voice chat server because he was on. Now, if I had to avoid somebody like that, it's not going to happen on my Mumble server. Right now, I'm in charge of the server. I did give Sivu, Reckonum, and Shodan rights to ban or kick people or even move them into different channels. If they do that, they have a damn good reason. So don't come crying to another officer. If they do that, talk to that person, find out why it happened, try not to do it again, and that's considered a warning, even if they don't say it's a warning. As for banning people, it doesn't happen often in FOD. I think out of how many years, it's only happened once. So it's not something that we do lightly. You really have to push or be a complete jerk. We don't really have a criteria for that. It's more or less breaking the code of conduct where we expect you to ensure that your actions are guild first and respect everybody. One other thing I wanted to bring up is the Mumble server should not be used for like any kind of, I don't know. I don't want to even say it, but unguild-like activities. If you want to play with somebody else on another game, that's fine. Just let me know.
Hold on, let me interrupt there. The Mumble server should follow the same FOD code of conduct rules. Period. Anything above and beyond, ask an officer. Ask Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, if I do have to up the slots and it gets busy, that's fine. We'll switch over to Zuppy's server. It's just that the reason I made this server is because we had a couple other voiceover servers, and I wanted to make sure we had a new address, something that we could control, something that Sivu could log into and shut down as he has to, and even ban people off the server. So we have more than one officer on that can do that. Please don't do anything wrong on the server, and you won't have to worry about it. One other thing I wanted to bring up is we should probably put up a subject of, you know, if we're teaming together and we're doing quests, do we make our own chat room, stuff like that when we're playing? I know that if I'm on a storyline and I have somebody talking in the background, sometimes it distracts me. We should probably put that on our list to talk about.
Okay, before
I'm done.
Before we do that, Odin's.
Oh, sorry, just speaking for myself. There's a lot of people that really are not interested in becoming an officer.
Go ahead, Odin.
So, can you hear me?
I can hear you, bro.
Okay. There's a lot of people that join guilds, like myself. We're really not interested in becoming officers. That's nice for those that do, and you just hope you got good officers. Just a personal opinion.
Sorry, guys. I just got home.
Oh, you're so in trouble. You are
I wasn't
so in trouble, little lady.
I wasn't out at the bars drinking or nothing. Just neighbor had a family emergency and I had to babysit her kids till she got home.
Excuses.
Yeah. I wish I had been drinking. I'm so sorry though. I apologize for being late.
That's okay. Okay. What we've discussed so far, Julie, is the covenant that we picked. You are buying the edition, right? The early edition.
Yeah, the deluxe digital.
Okay. So, do you have BN or does it matter?
Do I have what?
A particular covenant that you want to start in?
No.
Like Dagger. Okay.
No.
Okay.
We'll go with. I'll go with whatever the guild picks.
Okay. What else did we discuss? We talked about the FOD guilds. We're going to start off with 3 guilds at launch, and then we're gonna play by ear. We're also going to what else was we going to do? Oh, we're going to have bi-weekly meetings. Oh, every other week meetings. And it's not going to be as long as this one. It's probably going to be cut down to a 30-minute meeting if it needs to happen. What else did we discuss, Wolf?
What about recruiting? Did y'all discuss that?
We're going to brush on that.
The only other thing we're just in the middle of now is code of conduct, FOD ranks, and I am recording all of this so we can put it on the website for playback.
That's nice.
As formatting, if you want to chat just so we don't overtalk each other, just put an exclamation in the mumble chat down below. If you just flat out agree with the comment, you can type +1.
If you disagree, put a negative.
Okay, since we got Odin done. And given his input. And Wolf, you wanted to go to the subject of what now?
Sorry, I still had a comment on the whole
sorry.
thing.
Sorry, buddy.
What I was going to say, with that said, if somebody does have an issue with another person, please just come to an officer first and let us know about it. Don't go crazy in guild chat or a public forum. Let an officer deal with it. We're here to listen to whatever's going on and try and rectify it to keep the game fun for everyone.
And that's also in the code of conducts, guys, that we just recently posted on the website. And kudos for Jolie for turning us on to some options to go to for a template. Yeah, if someone's giving you shit or there's drama, we'll deal with it right then and there, and they will be either kicked or it says in the code of conducts to put another in there, treat their people the way you'd want to be treated. And it's right there in the code of conducts, and they are going to be, it's going to be mandatory for everybody to read that when they become a member of the Followers of Destiny. If they don't agree with the FOD, and then they can go play someplace else with other individuals, because FOD there's no drama, dude. I can't stand it. I got enough drama at work. So do you guys. You guys got real lives. There's, real life that just cause drama, and you get on the game to get escape for a little bit. So yeah, I can guarantee you that there will be no drama in this guild.
My turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Jolie, we did go over which faction we wanted to be in. We're going to put a poll on the forum that's going to close on March the 28th and have people vote. I don't know if I should put a poll up because I can't tell who picked what faction. I guess it could be anonymous. What do you want to do on that, Steven? Do you want to just have a poll so I don't know who voted for what faction, or do you want them to post what they're picking?
Zuby, you go first. You
Popped up there. You go first, Bubba.
I'd rather see it as a set of posts, because if another beta comes out or we read something, I would like to be able to change my vote if I see there's a valid reason to do so in my mind. Up until the 28th, if tomorrow I find out that the Upper Hammer of Doom is going to be a part of Aldermary Dominion, then I might want to go after it. You never know what news is going to come out between now and the 28th.
Okay, since we had some input on that, I just want to verify that we're not putting a poll. You have to post what faction you want to be in on the forums. Is that correct?
Correct.
And we close it on March the 28th, the week just before early release.
Okay. Julie, you got something, buddy?
Well, number one, I thought we already voted. And number two, if you don't post, does that mean you don't care? Or do you have to post something?
We already know what you want to do, Jolie. I mean,
Okay.
if you want to do make a uniform, that's fine. But we know what you've picked. I mean, I've got your name down, and you're like me and Shoden and Zuppy, and we don't care because
Okay.
we can pick out any character we want now. So if you want to make a uniform, go ahead. That's fine. But it
Okay.
doesn't really. I mean, it's for the other people that we've got in a guild. We've got like 17 individuals, and the only ones that we've really played with is the ones that's on this well, I can't say that. I can't say that. Wolf's played with a couple people too. So, but I'll reckoning you got something, bub.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't post, we're going to assume your vote is any.
Wolf.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up that the post for the faction voting was done before we knew that we could pre-order and have any class or character in a different faction. That's why we're doing the revote.
Okay.
Some people would have not picked the Daggerfall Covenant if they couldn't have been a Dark Elf, so that's the reason.
That was me, for those wondering.
Me too.
But now that we know that, whoever joins the guild after the release date, if they didn't pre-order, they'll have to pick a class that's in that faction. Otherwise, they can't play with us. Done. Sorry.
All right. No one else? Okay, we're gonna close that topic and move on. Wolf, did you have something that you wanted to the topic that we wanted to go for?
Yeah, there's a couple on hold that I want to bring to Jolie's attention. Schedules for events and raids, weekdays or weekends, that's on hold until we find out what people's schedules are. Officer criteria, what an officer is needed to follow in order to become an officer, even if there's a position open. Examples are, don't take sides, respect others, et cetera, et cetera. We still need to come up with a criteria. That's on hold. What else? Mumble requirements. Should we be online at all times? I think the mumble, we should go over that. Should we be online at all times when we're playing? So just in case we need to talk to somebody, we can go down to their channel and talk to them. How do we want to handle that?
Fox, go ahead.
I know for myself, I enjoy working with other people, but overall, I am a introvert and I need my alone time. And so there will be times when I get on that I do not want to hear or speak to anyone else at all. So, at least speaking for those of us who are introverts and like me, I think it would be hellish to require that we are always online.
All right, Julie,
Burn him
go
as
ahead.
a witch.
Julie, go ahead.
I think, didn't I remember somebody saying they were going to make some rooms in Mumble where could be in different rooms, like if you wanted to be in the tea room or if you want to be in
Yeah,
the
the story room and whatever. Yeah.
I need time alone room, so that you can pop up out of a room, like say for instance, a questing room, and ask questions of someone that's in a raid or a 6-man or whatever. We're gonna do that, right? Make rooms in the Mumble.
Okay, that's good points up. Okay, Wolf, you got the floor.
Yep. So everybody right now could make temporary rooms. If we make, I don't know, 5 or different chat rooms that stay permanent, it can be, I don't know, overwhelming for people to get in the right chat rooms and stuff. I have a question, Jolie. If you right click on the main root channel, FOD, at the top of this list, what are your options? Can you add a channel? Can you make a temp channel? What are your options?
I can join, add, copy, and send a message.
So you're not allowed to actually make a room?
It says,
Does add Wolf, so that
okay,
would
that looks like that's
be
it because I can name it.
Okay, go ahead and make one up and see if it's permanent if you don't join it. Okay, so she can make one. Let's see if she drops back down, if it disappears. Okay, so that was a temp room.
Yep, it
See?
disappeared.
So you can make your own room. Say Gray wants to be left alone. He makes do not disturb or something.
There you go. That sounds good to me.
Oh, that does sound good.
But why create a room that says do not disturb? Why not just not be on and then pop on when I'm ready to be disturbed?
Well, what if we run a 4-man? What if we run a 4-man and we want you to go with, and we pop down and say, hey, buddy, you want to go with us? And if not, then alrighty then.
If we're still on the subject, can I address that?
Go ahead.
All right, well, if Gray made a do not disturb channel, and the only reason we should drop in there is if something happens, like an emergency where we're kicking somebody, or he said that he wanted to be disturbed if he wants to join. I don't know. Gary's got a good point. If you want to play, you don't want to be disturbed, you don't want any kind of guild interaction that night, and if you don't read the chat in ESO for us asking you for help, he wants to date himself. I think that should be allowed. It shouldn't happen often. You should be on as much as possible. But how do you want to handle that, Mr. Stevu?
Before I handle that, Jolie, go ahead. You got one?
Well, I think the do not disturb should be like the do not disturb on Skype. You can still have contact with that person. It's just under usual and normal circumstances, people aren't going to be popping in there to have chit chat with him.
Hey guys, there's a mechanic in game for that. There's a little color coding next to your user drop down.
I was going to say that. Well, I mean, Zup.
Good job. And that's fine. That's fine. Why don't we just do it like that? If let's just put it like that. If you don't want to get on vent that night or mumble, just make sure that you watch chat, and because there's times where people don't want to be bothered. They just want to play a game and get done with it. I mean, if you can, make yourself available. So when we do need, let's say like we got a 12-man, and we're looking for another person, and the 12th man on the totem pole. I mean, if it's really that bad, you had a bad day at work and you just want to be left alone, or go to the AFK channel, right? Or just say, I mean, if you really had a bad day, send me a tell and say, hey, I'd really like to, but I just want to chill out, man. I had a bad day at work. The boss was eating my ass out today. I just want to chill out. Or was it Zuppy?
No, I think Gray was next.
Okay, Greg, go ahead.
So we kind of touched on this earlier about having the like giving out our like phone number for like texting each other for stuff like that. Like I'd be perfectly fine with giving like the officers my phone number for texting purposes for like we were talking about, say you're running a 12-man dungeon and you need the 12th man. I have a feeling that the quote unquote do not disturb channel is not going to be respected for only emergencies. That especially for people who craft, that the quote unquote emergency is going to be, hey, I need blah blah blah. I just don't see that being respected as where they're not disturbed. So
well, if we do have a chat room like that, I will police that myself. The only people, I mean, that if that's one of your concerns, we can go with the officers and myself. We can talk about it. I mean, if you're in a chat room, and I'm not gonna pop down there and say, so how's your wife? How's your kids? How's it going? Fairly good, great. All right. Well, I'm gonna leave now, and then leave and come back again. And say, hey, it's me again. No, It's not going to happen like that. We respect each other here. I mean, if you're down here in a crafting room and you say you're in the AFK, we're not going to sit there and move you from AFK to bring you down there and ask you. And we're just not going to do that.
Okay.
So I'll police that myself. If we have a room like that, if that's what you're really concerned of, I'll police that myself. Okay.
I guess could I finish off on that real fast?
Sure. Go ahead.
So I guess just have a very strict
Good.
contact for that room. Just have it on the forum. Just say, hey, for the do not disturb like that for, and have a specific list of reasons as to why, like, hey, we're running a 12-man group and you want to ask them, hey, if they want to join that, and have specific reasons only that you're allowed to interrupt them, because I'd be fine with that. It's just all too often that's not what happens.
I think we'd send you a tell before we would even, because like myself, I would have to pull down the game to get to the mumble screen here. But I mean, like Wolf or whatever, they run on two screens, but I would have to pull my game and switch to your room and say, hey, why would I want to do that when I could just say send you a tell? Hey, if you're there, respond if you want to do this. If not, then that's good too. Okay, we've got. I'm losing. Okay, Tarl, you're next. It was Gray. Now it's Tarl. You're next, Tarl.
Okay, I was just going to say I'm kind of in the same boat with Gray. There are times when I do play and don't want to be on chat because, well, I've got an autistic child and sometimes he's having a bad night and I'm up and down every 2 minutes. So but that do not disturb would work also.
Well, that's understandable, and we're not gonna fault you for that. I mean, if you guys can say like you and Fox want to go down to the next, I mean, we're gonna work with you guys. We're not gonna make to where, if you're if you're on game and you're not on the Mumble server, if we can talk to you on tel, then that's cool. I mean, that's fine by me. So that's what our big thing is. If you can't respond to our tells, and okay, say if you needed help and you're not even on vent, and you need help with a different level, or you, I mean, we're gonna need to talk through that way. But I mean, if you don't want a team and you just want to be left alone, that's fine. Just make sure that if somebody sends you a tell, please respond and say, hey guys, I would love to, but they just not let me do it. Because I have those moments too when my kids are just like, off the, don't give me that woman. They're off the hook, and I have to go up there and settle them down. I mean, it's just make sure that you're available by pop on Mumble. Make sure you're available by tel. Because I mean, there might be something that pops up, and it might be something that you want to do too. It might be a dungeon. It's like, hey, we're getting ready to do this dungeon. You want to go? And if you send us a tell, say, hey, dude, love to. Not tonight, dude. I got probably 5-10 minutes, and then I have to get back up and take care of the kid, and that's just fine. Just let us know what's going down, because we're not in your house and we don't know what's happening. Just let us know. All right, I'm done.
Me too.
Wolf, you want to comment on that one? I'm done with my big splur.
Yeah, Gray, when you mean do not disturb, you mean complete no disturbance, right? Okay, so not even texts. I was just thinking. Okay, I understand. I was just thinking that if we had made a channel do not disturb, I could set it up so whoever enters the channel is automatically muted, kind of like AFK, and they could send a text chat. However, since Gray doesn't want it set up that way and maybe other people's don't, just don't pop on the Mumble server. Give us your cell phone. You can decide whether or not to text back. That's fine, as far as I'm concerned. But having said that, if you're not on for a month and then you show up, you know, can't say that we're going to include you in anything. So that's up to you. Done.
Next on the pecking orders, Jolie, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about that do not disturb. And what if somebody popped into his do not disturb and they were a little bit more open to, they didn't want as stringent a do not disturb as he wants. So I could see where that would be issue right away, just having two people in the do not disturb room.
Gray?
That's why I was saying for the people who really don't want any contact at all, just be allowed to not log on to Mumble, because that'd be just the best way. And then you can, like you said, have a quote unquote do not disturb, but where they're allowed to, like, if there's a group something going down, that they could be invited to it. So if you want no disturbance at all, don't log in. And I'm not gonna be going for weeks at a time without logging in, as I really do enjoy playing with other people. I just also enjoy my alone time too. So
In this do not disturb room, is it possible that if one person is in it, only one person can be in it at a time? Like, say, for instance, I'm going to assume that you guys are going to create an officers channel, and I would assume that not everybody would just be able to pop into the officers channel at their whimsy, because, you know, you guys might be discussing kicking somebody out of the guild or something like that. So is there a mechanism for, if one person's in the do not disturb, then they are the only person who is going to be in the do not disturb, and then they won't have to worry about any intrusions?
Well, if that's going to be you, big boy, you're going to have to answer that.
Well, I think Gray had the floor. Did you have anything else to add, Gray?
no, I think that pretty much summed it up.
Okay. So Jolie, when you make a channel, anybody can join that channel unless you leave. It'll, basically erase itself. We can make permanent channels if you'd like. Making a do not disturb channel would be fine. I do want to test something if that's okay. Gray, there's a mute all and deaf all option in the top left corner of Mumble.
Okay, I'll give it a shot, see what happens.
Yep, I'm gonna try to send you a text. So let me know when you go, I'll see and I'll send you a text.
Where's the mute all?
It's the headset and the mic on the far left corner of Mumble near the top. There you go.
Ah, yeah, that works quite well.
Yep. All right, so hold on. Let me send you a text while you're muted and
So yes, I can read it, and it does give me the notification in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. This thing was written down.
okay, so that could be another way to handle it. I'm done.
Zup.
So I guess my take on the whole reason for or encouraging to join Mumble is that's the first place we're probably going to go to see if we want to get a group going that night for a dungeon event, something. With that said, we'll go to chat secondary. I will go to chat secondarily. For me, it's far easier to say, hey, anybody want to go do event X? And that, that's just my personal opinion. When it comes to trying to form a raid, that's where it's hard to know if you're not on Mumble but in game. Whether you're actually just having an off night, I would just try to ask that you respond. And, intel if you want to an officer that says, look, I'm just not up tonight. But, a lot of times what happens with tells in game is someone's involved in the heat of PvP or an area in a town or crafting or something that chat spams so fast you just don't see the tells. That's all I had on that.
Okay. So what we thought about doing is making it do not disturb, temporary do not disturb, or deafening yourself. Is that correct? Or not popping on at all. Just making sure that you're available for tells and texts. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now let's go on to the next order of business.
Sorry, hang on. We're at the hour
Well,
mark.
did you say that besides that?
Yep, should we stop this and then restart on another
Topic,
record?
yes. Yeah.
I still wanted to add something.
Okay, finish comments to what we're talking to right now. We're good.
So I can make a permanent do not disturb, so you don't have to mute and deafen yourself. You might forget to turn it back on. One thing I also wanted to brush up on was in the game, if you make a separate chat window and take out zone chat so you don't miss our messages in the spam, that might be another thing to do. Zuppy, I'm sure that you need to stop your recording, so if you guys want to take a 10-minute break then and start over?
Yeah, I need to grab some coffee.
Me too. But I want to. Well, if I want to.
What we're going to discuss next. I thought there was something else before we started on the separate rooms. Was there anything else that you wanted to bring up when we start again?
Do we need to start again? What major topics do we have left?
We still have the minimum level requirement for new applications.
Okay.
Who's going to be allowed to recruit new members? Jolie was very adamant about that, and I think we should start recruiting if we're going to get at least 24 members for one of those large raids.
Okay, so all that stuff and perhaps more in part 3. Stopping recording now.